Happy Kids TV.
The Holy Tales.
Hello, children! Are we all gathered here today for another parable of Jesus?
Oh, yes, we are!
All right. So, today's parable is the Pharisee and the tax collector.
Who is a Pharisee, Holy?
A Pharisee is a teacher of scriptures and a person who knows a lot about God.
Oh, I see.
Long time ago, one day, two men went to the temple to pray. One was a Pharisee and one was a tax collector. The two men sat down on their knees and prayed to God. While praying, all that the Pharisee could think about was how good he was and how much better he was than any other person. He prayed to God and said,
God, I thank you that I am not bad like all the other people. I am glad that I am not bad like the robbers and the cheaters. I am so glad that I am not a bad person like the tax collector over there.
The Pharisee continued praying.
Lord, I am so good and generous. I give lots of money to people in need and I pray a lot.
When God heard his prayers, he was very angry with the Pharisee. The Pharisee was not at all humble while praying. He had too much pride in himself, and so he put himself above everyone else. Then the tax collector began praying to God. As we know, tax collectors were considered to be bad people who would cheat others for money. But this tax collector was not one of those bad people. He wanted to pray from his heart and had a lot of faith in God. He prayed to God from a distance inside the temple.
God, you are so good. Please forgive me for all the wrong that I have done. Please help me to be a better person every day.
Unlike the Pharisee, the tax collector was humble at his praying. God was very happy with him. The tax collector did not even think for once how good he was. Instead, he thought how good God was. So, through this parable, what Jesus wanted to explain to people was to be humble before God, and God would make them great.
Wow! That was such a nice story. Thank you for the story, Holy. I loved it.
I am glad you did, Freckles.
Hope you enjoyed the story as much as we did. Come back soon. We'll be back with a new parable. Keep watching. Until next time.
We pray you enjoyed the video. To persist in prayer and not give up does not mean endless repetition or painfully long prayer sessions. Constant prayer means keeping our request continually before God as we live for Him day by day, believing He will answer. When we live by faith, we are not giving up. God may delay answering, but his delays always have good reasons. As we persist in prayer, we grow in character, faith, and hope. Widows and orphans were among the most vulnerable of all God's people, and both Old Testament prophets and New Testament apostles insisted that these needy people be properly cared for. See, for example, Exodus chapter 22, verses 22 through 24, Isaiah chapter 1, verse 17, 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 3, and James chapter 1, verse 27. If godless judges respond to constant pressure, how much more will a great and loving God respond to us? If we know He loves us, we can believe He will hear our cries for help. The people who lived near Jerusalem often would go to the temple to pray. The temple was the center of their worship. The Pharisees did not go to the temple to pray to God, but to announce to all within earshot how good He was. The tax collector went recognizing his sin and begging for mercy. Self-righteousness is dangerous. It leads to pride, causes a person to despise others, and prevents him or her from learning anything from God. The tax collector's prayer should be our prayer because we all need God's mercy every day. Don't let pride in your achievements cut you off from God.